Good evening. How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Monday night. It is the Earthmaster out here. July 14th, 2025 is the date. 10:31 p.m. California time. Latest activity here on the globe shows a 1.4 into Southern California down here. Let's see, that's around Tom's place up here around Long Valley Super Volcano. Been a little active up here recently with a swarm of movement. But overall, right now, let's check out the 2.5 map and above. Not a whole lot happening in that department, and really not a whole lot happening right now across Southern California yet. I say yet here because we've had a bunch of earthquake activity out here all across various areas here of the Pacific Plate, even out here across this fracture boundary, southeastern area of the Pacific Plate. This is a spreading seafloor center between the Nazca Plate and the Pacific Plate here. A lot of movement going on all around the Pacific Plate here. Very minimal in Southern California for now, but we'll definitely watch that. Further up the line here, Northern California, another handful of quakes here. Seems like we've been getting about 4 to 5 earthquakes in this area every day. That is towards the southern end here of the Cascadia Megathrust area. The last one, a 2.0, 12 miles deep here into that, again, the extreme southern end of the Cascadia. One earthquake up there in Oregon. That's kind of an odd one. 1.2. Don't see a whole lot of earthquake activity out there, but we got one earthquake being reported. Now for the Mount Rainier area, we're definitely well over 500 earthquakes now, looking at 623. And I can guarantee you there's probably been a lot more than that, just for the ones that they haven't been able to locate as far as the determination there of the magnitude and whatnot. Cascadia Tremor, by the way, 55 epicenters, not that big of a deal. I want to show you guys back here on the Mount Rainier seismograph stations real quick. Show you guys here the last recorded data. There's a couple earthquakes here. Still some very small ones as well. The previous 24 hours here, there was only like 6 hours on that map, but this goes back a little bit further. Still seeing a number of earthquakes out here. It hasn't completely died off. Still got quite a bit, and even some smaller ones out there. So this has been, a decent amount of swarming here. I would say since when was that? The 8th, I believe. Let me go check that real quick and see. There's the 7th. Yeah, so it began back on the 8th here of July. We're almost here at that'd be almost 2 weeks here, right? Goodness. So yeah, still a decent amount of earthquake activity. Obviously, it is mellowed out to only, a handful. Well, it's more than a handful each day. Let me see what we got here for just today's time frame. Got 45 earthquakes still. And they're not going anywhere in terms of the location here. It's still up the summit, but a mile or two below the summit there. That's why these are negative in terms of the negative depth there of the earthquakes. That's sea level, so it's going to account for negative. So it is just above sea level if you were to think about this being flat sea level land, but it's not. You have to accumulate, or you have to account for the peak up here, which is 411 feet there. So minus the numbers for a mile, and you end up with this here. But it's still about 2 miles here below the summit surface area. So just kind of keep an eye on it, folks. Not a whole lot going on there through the Pacific Northwest. Yellowstone National Park, pretty quiet. Let's go check this out real quick, though. Just double check. Yeah, not a whole lot happening. This looks like some storms earlier, some wind events in the darker blue lines. It tends to happen a lot there in the summertime. They're pretty lucky up there to get some rain. It's been hot out here across California, so not a whole lot of rain. Just 100 degrees all the time. Oil fields out here in Texas still pretty active. Nothing major going on for the rest of the country. I did notice here a little bit of movement around the Puerto Rico area starting to kick up. I did mention that in my last video to watch that because of the elevated activity out here across the fracture boundary, applying further strain here against the Middle America Trench. Of course, we had that recent earthquake activity Up in Guatemala, now we got that bigger earthquake here, the 6.2 in Panama. Looks like some activity previous to that as well. That's got to be applying quite a bit of strain here along the Caribbean plate where the Puerto Rico region sits. So watch that here. You're getting some activity, it looks like, right up against the Puerto Rico Trench. And a very dynamic area. Little, there's definitely some possibility of some mega quake activity out there. Man, look at all this earthquake activity here across the western Pacific. Japan seeing some activity as well. This 5.2 was just an hour ago, so it looks like maybe the swarm's starting to kick back up out there. Let's go double check the Japan Meteorological Agency here to see what we have. Oh yeah, they're reporting that as a 5.1. Let's see here. Throughout the afternoon, a handful of quakes each hour. Looks like it is starting to kick up a little bit. The 10 o'clock time period here, 3 of them. 9 o'clock was pretty busy there with a handful of them, including the 5-pointer. So, again, it's going to adjust out here, right? There's been a whole bunch of movement up north, a whole bunch of movement down south, and, of course, all that pressurization heads off there to the Japan area, right up against the Nankai Trough and the area south here towards Taiwan. That area is definitely building up a whole bunch of earthquake pressure. Let's see here. It's 5.2. Previous to that, movement down across the Philippines. There's that 4.8 in the Izu Islands, Izu Trench zone this morning. So real quick here, I know there's seemingly like a lot of earthquake activity happening out here. But I do want to show you guys here real quick. I know we've had a number of 6-pointers out here in the last 7 days, right? We've actually had 2 and a couple near 6-pointers. 7-pointers, no, not yet. But I do want to show you guys here real quick the earthquake model of accumulated earthquakes so far since the first of the year, 2025. Okay, we've had 5 7-pointers, no 8-pointers yet, but 5 7-pointers. Minus that would put us at 55 earthquakes of magnitude 6.0 to 6.9. So it's not including the 7-pointer. So, I get a lot of questions here asking me how many we should see on any given year, and that's why I brought up this map here to show you guys once again. On average, per year out here, anywhere across the planet, we should see 15 earthquakes of magnitude 7.0 to 7.9. And here we are, halfway through the year just about, and we're only at 5 earthquakes. So we are, pretty much well below average. 15, yeah, so we'll probably start to see, some 7-pointers kick up here. The 6-pointers, we're still even below average on that. 55 so far this year. Should be 130 in total across the year. So you split that in half, that still puts us below average for halfway through the year. Not going to go on and count 1 million earthquakes of magnitude 2.0, but just to show you guys here, the numbers, we're sitting at below average here so far. No 8-pointers yet this year. In fact, our last 8-pointer was back in 2019. We had 3 of them, so that may have offset the time that we would see an 8-pointer, because they're supposed to happen every year or so. But we're coming up, 4 years now. We should definitely be seeing an 8-pointer somewhere out here across the planet. So all the movement out here, recently, everywhere. This is just the last 7 days of 4.5 and above. Everywhere except for the West Coast out here. That's why I'm saying it's a little quiet. Yes, we did have some 4s out here recently, but nothing of 4.5 and above. Those were below that level. But look at that. Doesn't that look odd? It's kind of sitting out there like a sore thumb. So I do expect some movement out here with all this other adjustment taking place. Alaska really minimal as well. So we do have, a number of areas to watch here for some earthquake movement. There's that 6.7, the largest one so far. Today, I don't think we're going to see another 7-pointer or a 6-pointer, but you never know. It always seems to happen. As soon as I turn the lights off and climb into bed, my phone goes off with a big earthquake alert. similar to last night there, but we'll see what happens tonight. New Zealand, let's see what we got going on here. Looks like it's died off temporarily around that area. Some newer shallow adjustment going on here across the Tonga Trench. Still leaving this area in the absent zone, this seismic gap here. I'm starting to wonder if we're not going to see something bigger out here next. It really hasn't filled in. If you look at the last 7 days here, what do we have here? The last one was a 4 point. No, that's way back over here. I need this area specifically right here. Looks like a 4.7 back over here across Papua New Guinea. But this is unusually quiet across this zone. And normally we at least get some decent 5s and some 6-pointers. And obviously bigger earthquake activity out here. It's very capable. But, man, it's just been quiet out there. So watch that zone. It's a zone that doesn't stay quiet for long. There's that curl cam chat. See, there was another earthquake this afternoon, a 5.8. I didn't cover that this morning. Well, in the update earlier, because this happened afterwards. But that's just another large earthquake there along the Pacific Plate that is continuing to apply pressure in this area. I mean, that's a deep, somewhat deep, of a deep one. 46 miles deep for 5.8. Another major subduction zone here that's capable of producing some megaquake activity. So I just got to watch this area closely here, folks. I feel like something definitely brewing out here with all this movement recently. Where'd that big one go? It kind of disappeared off the map, didn't it? There we go. I didn't quite have the last 24 hours on there because this one struck, well, 22:49, so that's literally in just a couple minutes here. So that was probably, I don't think I need to add that much time frame on here. It should drop off, so. Anyway, let's see here. What else we got? There's the earthquake activity. I got a bug on me. Lots of bugs out here. It's warm and humid out here in Northern California right now, so the bugs and the spiders are loving it. Every once in a while, I'll get a little gnat coming in the house here. A little bit of movement up north along the plate boundary here. It looks like north of Iceland. Number of 3s and some 4s up there. That's some newer movement. Not a whole lot going on across the Mediterranean for now, but I guess we'll kind of watch this, see how it plays out tonight. Got a lot of movement happening, and a few folks here were mentioning that this uptick is a result of space weather activity. Well, you know how I feel about the space weather and earthquake relation. If I see it, I call it. But also, if I see earthquake activity and no space weather activity, I call it. Now, some are saying it's a result of this massive coronal hole here that it's affecting us with some high-speed solar wind stream. That is way south of the Earth-Sun plane. This has nothing to do with the earthquake activity in question today. My model and my theory is, and I've been keeping a track here in my notebook, is that when we get bombarded by protons from the sun due to large flares, that's when things tend to go haywire. But this activity here on the sun is well south, and we haven't even seen any. Hold on. Let's bring up the real-time solar wind stream here. We have yet to see any major uptick here. This is since, when does this go back? This goes back, it looks like, the last couple days or so, but there's really not been any type of major uptick. Some slight speed uptick here. I don't think that's affected the KP index, though. No, it's only at a 4, so the auroras are fairly well suppressed. But there's no major, huge density with that high-speed solar wind stream. And like I say, I don't think that had anything to do with it. But I will mark it down that this thing was facing us, and there was somewhat elevated speed, but not incredible amounts, and it's not even really affecting the planet in terms of the aurora activity. This is this is the ACE and the Discover spacecrafts there that's monitoring this data. But yeah, again that's way south pointing. It's definitely a decent sized coronal hole, right? But we've seen in the past, and they really haven't done much. It's just like, you know, like these solar storms here that kick up the KP index up around 8 or so last May. Not last May, but 2024. And really didn't do anything in terms of creating larger earthquake activity. We didn't see any uptick. I've looked at all this data so far, and the only thing I can see is when we get bombarded with protons, is that seems to stir the earthquakes up. But we'll mark this down, just because some people do feel that this coronal hole just facing the Earth alone, it's not a hole in the sun. This is just where some high-speed solar wind stream is escaping the sun there. But we'll mark this down here in the book and see what happens for the next coronal hole. I haven't really been, putting that into the books too much here. I've been just watching the solar flares and the sunspots out here in the proton events. But for now, any type of aurora that's going to stir up is it looks like it's being suppressed right now. Our magnetic field is doing its job. KP index of a 4 could be up around the 4 to 5 range. That's kind of where we're at right now, but really not expecting much because that is well south for the most part there of the Earth-Sun plane. As far as flaring activity goes, we do have a number of sunspots out here, and this one's just kind of fading away. I've seen that throughout the day today. Looked okay here yesterday and last night, but that's starting to degrade. Really not too concerned with that one. All these sunspots here are just kind of, they're not looking all that promising right now. I think I'm going to drop the flare threat. Right now it's still holding that 50% chance for an M flare, X flare at 5, but as you can see throughout the day today, it's pretty much flatline, almost back down into the B flare category after seeing a couple days of spikiness there. That indicates some instability with the sunspots. But it looks like it's starting to mellow out. Those things are starting to die. Illumination there, 77% with the moon. There's that prominence eruption there from earlier. Any such CME should be directed away from the Earth. So, again, that's way out there on the southwestern limb of the sun, way out there. So not going to be Earth directed. Beautiful, though. Definitely a beautiful... let's see if this one will pick it up. Well, that's from a few days ago. What's this going to show? That's just a still image. But, yeah, neat little explosion there. Definitely not Earth-directed. All right, let's double-check here weather at the surface of this planet. Well, above the surface, above our heads. No tornado threat for the night. Wind and some hail threats, it looks like, there for the remainder of the night. For the day on Tuesday, we got some slight risk over here across portions of the South Dakota into Nebraska. 2% chance there for some tornado activity in the green. Wind and some hail threats. I'm sure you guys have seen something about a hurricane starting out here. Well, maybe a hurricane starting, right? Some type of tropical system. It looks like this is going to be tropical storm, if it makes it there, Dexter. Interesting name. I do watch the Dexter series there. The new one just came out. Kind of interesting there. I don't really share a lot of my personal movie favorites, but series and stuff like that. But I do love Dexter. Watched the whole seasons there numerous times over the years. Now they got a new one out. But it's interesting there that it's coming up with the name Dexter for the tropical system. Let me see what we got here for... Oh, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it either. What am I looking for? Let me see here. That shows the jet stream patterns. Let me bring up the hurricane center here. Over here in the Atlantic. See, they got this one right here. They call it right now Disturbance 1. It's got a 40% chance of cyclone formation there in the next 7 days. And that goes for the next 48 hours. So this could be a quick mover. It does have some potential there. Just bring a whole bunch of rain over across this area if it does go in that general direction. But oh, that's what I was doing wrong. I was looking at the upper patterns here. I meant to go with the lower. I don't really see anything major kicking in, but it's got to be something. Most of the models here do show that westward, kind of an odd direction here, coming right over Florida into the Gulf, and it's not going to have a lot of time here though to kick up, and be a big hurricane or anything like that. But it does look like some type of tropical system, possibly. We'll have to watch that over the coming days here. Looks like maybe around it's coming up soon, so we'll check back on this tomorrow and see what that looks like. But it does look like some tropical system down there that could stir up, a bunch of rain down there across the south. I know Texas doesn't need any more rain, but we could use a little bit of it because California is just super, super dry and hot. What do we got here? A little 1.4 that came in here within the last hour. Seismograph stations are offline right now. Aside from that, folks, we'll catch you guys out here tomorrow morning for the Tuesday morning update. Got a 3.2 down there across South America right now. So just gonna watch things, see how it plays out here tonight. A lot of movement. So I've said it before, but I actually said it last night there when that earthquake struck up, that 6.7 there, that we should be on watch here across this area and all across the Pacific, because it puts things in motion. And boy, it was a very active day today for a Monday. So we'll see if that continues there. Alaska looks like that's some older movement up there, but I'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to bring the time down just a little bit because we're past that threshold now. That should be good. Last 24 hours right there on the globe. All right. Have a good one, folks. We will see you guys out here tomorrow morning. Take care and stay safe out there.